Ladies and gentlemen, it is my great honor to introduce to you today Dr. Max Nikias, the 11th President of the University of Southern California. A native of Cyprus, President Nikias came to the U.S. in the late 1970s to pursue higher degrees in engineering. He has not stopped running since he hit the ground. A renowned signal engineer and a member of more than 4 of the great American academies of higher learning, he is now one of America's most respected leaders of research and higher education. He was provost of USC from 2005 to 2010 when he became president of USC. Since then, he has not only brought USC into the rankings of the top research universities in the U.S., and I can tell you that no other university has moved so quickly and so successfully as USC under his leadership. He has also raised a record-breaking more than $6.5 billion in endowment and gift funds with an average of $900 million a year. Arnold Schwarzenegger called him the billion-dollar man. This has transformed the university, most notably leading an unprecedented hiring wave of world-class faculty, building an entirely new and transformative residential college, which is changing the entire face and life of the university, building countless cutting-edge research centers, and making the undergraduate body of USC one of the most competitive and elite, and really fun, actually, in the world. Great group of kids, and they just get better every single year. Dr. Nikias is a regular national voice on moral issues facing higher education. He has led on the DACA issue with courage, taking a strong moral stand, as well as on issues like income inequality within universities, diversity, and uncompromising excellence, where along with inspiring words, he has made real, measurable achievement. I can tell you this from personal experience. President Nikias is a leader in academic faculty freedom. Over and over again, he has insisted in our work that faculty freedom be central to the university's mission. This might sound obvious, but it is not in a world of political, financial, and corporate pressures, and indeed in a world in which free speech is often and increasingly under violent assault. I have seen President Nikias take courageous stands behind closed doors. Those are the real courageous ones where you don't get credit for it. This vision is why USC is experiencing the greatest period in its history with unprecedented growth and success, and the setting of this extraordinary conference today is because of this energy. Without President Nikias' vision and leadership, this conference would not have been possible. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome President Max Nikias.
Thank you, Jake. Hello, everyone. Listening to your introduction, Jake, I couldn't help it. I kind of recall, I believe, Bob, I'm looking at Bob Schramm, President Johnson was the first one who said it. Oh my goodness, with all this introduction, I wish my parents were alive to listen to it, because my father would have been very proud of me, and my mother would have believed it all. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the University of Southern California. We are pleased that you're here today to tackle one of the most pressing problems of our time. Migration has become a world crisis, and we are only beginning to understand its meaning and, of course, its scope. It affects how we view rich and poor and the gap between the two. It affects how citizens vote and the framing of political discussions. And it affects how people feel about social justice and about basic issues of right and wrong. This event is something that Professor Saul told me about last year. And I want to thank him, and also Professor Bob Schramm, as well as all my colleagues at the USC Dornsife College and the Unruh Institute for organizing it. Allow me to share a story for a minute that speaks to this concern of migration and refugees. At the beginning of the Peloponnesian War, and as you know, after the first battles of the Peloponnesian War, a lot of refugees had to move inside the wall of Athens. And Euripides staged a poignant play, a tragedy, for his Athenian audience entitled The Children of Heracles. In the play, Athens must decide whether to make a practical choice or a humane one. Heracles, the great hero, is dead, but his old rival, King Eurystheus, will not rest until he tracks down and kills Heracles' children. The children, in their desperate flight to seek asylum from one city to the other, are repeatedly denied. And after much wandering, they have only one last hope left: democratic Athens. But Athens is warned, if you grant the children refuge, you will be attacked. The pragmatic choice would be to hand over the children and avoid war. The opponents of Athens even suggest that a democratic society lacks the courage to make tough, humane decisions and choices. Yet, after a long debate in Euripides' play, the Athenian assembly in the end chooses to side with Heracles' children. Their response: the disgrace is all ours if we let you drag these children off. It is a reminder, my fellow colleagues, that democracies from the very beginning have agonized over the moral issues at the heart of migration and refugees. And America is no different. Europe is no different. So today's discussions are important for our country, for our world, and for our future. The University of Southern California is playing a unique role in finding solutions to the migration crisis and in advancing our collective response. We do this with cutting-edge research and scholarship work, but we also do it with an approach focused on results. We are a major research university, and we have scholars from many fields engaged on this issue. From our humanities faculty, for example, we have Pierrette Hodagnou-Sotelo. She's a sociologist and has a personal understanding of the immigration experience. It is literally in her blood. Her mother was from Chile and her father from France. And that background has given her immense empathy and insight into migration, qualities which she has brought into her own scholarly work. For decades, she has studied the migration experience, especially as it relates to women. She has rescued from obscurity the hardworking and spirited immigrant women, who otherwise might have been lost in the mists of time. Her most recent book is Paradise Transplanted, and it is a revelation. She shows us how migrant women use gardening as a means of easing into their new worlds and bringing a bit of their old worlds with them. So Professor Sotelo spent countless hours researching real immigrant gardens, where she was literally digging into the past. We also have great scholars who strive to connect students to the real-world issues at the center of the migration crisis. Professor Najm Meshkadi of our Viterbi School of Engineering is a world-renowned expert in aviation safety and design. But students who take a class with him get more than just a better grasp of engineering safety systems. They get a better grasp of the world. Professor Meshkadi wants his students to become more than just engineers in the next cubicle. He wants them to become fully engaged citizens. Recently, he co-hosted a Skype conference called right here at USC, so students could talk directly with refugees from Syria, Afghanistan, Eritrea, and Lebanon. The refugees talked about what their experiences are really like. I lost the sound. Thank you. And the students proposed innovations to help them improve their conditions and lead better lives. This is the type of cultural exchange where USC, I believe, does a great job. As one of Professor Meshkadi's students said, of course, working at Google and Apple, it's a dream. But you start thinking, what's it all for and who is it all for? USC also has scholars who are translating the migrant experience into a great art. Dornsife College professor Viet Thanh Nguyen fled the Vietnam War with his family when he was just 4 years old. He was briefly separated from his parents in Pennsylvania when they resettled in the United States, an experience that made a deep impression on him. His early life spurred his desire to communicate the refugee experience through literature. He calls himself, to this date, a refugee, not an immigrant, and for him, that is a crucial distinction. Immigrant implies a personal choice that he and others like him did not have the luxury of making. In his innovative novel, The Sympathizer, Professor Nguyen explored how the painful legacy of war led many of his fellow refugees to grapple with difficult issues of personal and national identity. The Sympathizer, 2 years ago, won the Pulitzer Prize, and Professor Nguyen was just named a few months ago a MacArthur Genius Scholar. At USC, we're so proud that he has spent his entire academic career right here on our campus. Students are absorbing the lessons from these great scholars and artists, and those lessons are translating into a real-world action. Sophia Dick just graduated from USC this past semester, but during her time here, she noticed a vast number of Syrian refugees streaming into California. She saw the huge number of these refugees were settling in San Diego, and she resolved to help them. Sophia organized a group of students to give these Syrian refugees free one-on-one tutoring in English and other vital skills they need as they adapt to their new lives. This is USC making a positive difference. Today, we're hearing from some of the most influential people in politics, government, and higher education. They share a view that the issues surrounding migration will shape our world for the rest of the 21st century and beyond. The stakes could not be higher, and we can all make a positive difference by engaging in these issues with energy, intelligence, and resourcefulness. Our politics requires it. Our conscience demands it. And our future, in many ways, depends on it. So thank you for attending this conference, and I'm very, very pleased to have you at the University of Southern California. Fight on. Thank you.